Hello there. Welcome to Earthly Explorer. Tonight, we begin a gentle journey into the past, to meet a creature often remembered for its size and strength, but here we will see it differently, as part of a balanced, ancient world. The Tyrannosaurus rex is one of the most famous dinosaurs of all time. Its image is often fierce, jaws open wide, teeth gleaming. Yet when we step quietly into its world, we find a creature not of chaos, but of rhythm, patience, and calm. The Tyrannosaurus rex lived around 66 million years ago, in the late Cretaceous period. The earth was warm, the seas high, and vast forests stretched across the land. Rivers wound through plains, flowering plants flourished, and herds of dinosaurs grazed in silence. This was the home of Tyrannosaurus rex, not a wasteland of fear, but a living world filled with green, water, and gentle cycles of life. Fossils tell us that Tyrannosaurus rex could grow up to 40 feet long and weigh as much as 9 tons. Yet despite its size, it lived with patience, growing slowly over many years. Hatchlings were no larger than a chicken, fragile and dependent, before growing steadily into towering adults. Its life was not a sudden burst but a long rhythm, each stage part of a cycle that mirrored the calm persistence of nature itself. The landscape it walked was alive with sounds, the calls of hadrosaurs, the rustle of leaves, the flow of rivers. T-Rex was not separate from this harmony but part of it, its footsteps sinking softly into mud, its breath mingling with the warm air of the Cretaceous. To imagine it is not to picture chaos but balance, a creature perfectly suited to its time, living in step with the world around it. Though known for its jaws, Tyrannosaurus rex did not roar endlessly or chase without pause. Most of its life was spent in stillness, walking slowly, resting in shade, conserving energy. Like lions today, it may have hunted only when needed, feeding and then returning to silence. Its teeth and muscles were tools of survival, but its existence was guided by patience, not fury. The story of Tyrannosaurus rex begins not with fear but with quiet presence. It was part of an ancient cycle, a creature shaped by Earth's balance, living in a world rich with life. To follow its story is to see not terror but calm endurance, the patience of growth, the rhythm of survival, the silence of time. And as we begin this journey together, if you enjoy these gentle explorations, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Earthly Explorer, so we can continue wandering into the most relaxing truths of our world. The world of the late Cretaceous was not a place of endless hunting or chaos, but a landscape of balance, where every creature had its rhythm. Tyrannosaurus rex, though immense, was part of that rhythm, shaped by the land, the plants, and the creatures that surrounded it. To imagine its daily life is to step softly into a forested plain where time moved slowly, and life unfolded in patterns of calm repetition. Tyrannosaurus rex lived in what is now North America, its fossils found across regions that once held broad rivers, warm wetlands, and coastal plains. The climate was mild and humid, with flowering plants spreading widely for the first time in Earth's history. Palms, magnolias, and oaks filled the landscape, their leaves catching sunlight and shading the ground. Forests echoed with insects, while dragonflies skimmed over water and turtles basked quietly along riverbanks. This was the background of Tyrannosaurus rex's life, a living canvas of green and water, thriving under the warm skies of the Cretaceous. Despite its reputation, Tyrannosaurus rex did not dominate this world alone. It lived alongside herds of hadrosaurs, the duck-billed dinosaurs that grazed peacefully on plants. Ankylosaurs, armored with plates and tails, moved slowly through undergrowth, their bodies like living fortresses. Triceratops, with its great frill and 3 horns, wandered in groups, feeding on ferns and shrubs. These were not constant enemies of Tyrannosaurus rex, but companions in an ecosystem, each with its own role. Their presence gave balance to the land, a cycle of growth, grazing, and renewal that sustained life for millions of years. The Tyrannosaurus rex itself, though a predator, spent much of its life in calm. Like large predators today, it likely rested often, conserving energy. Fossil evidence suggests it may have scavenged as much as it hunted, feeding on carcasses when the opportunity arose. In this way, it acted as both hunter and cleaner, ensuring that nothing in the ecosystem was wasted. Its role was not chaos but balance, helping life continue by cycling energy back into the land. Its body, though massive, was designed with harmony. A long, muscular tail balanced its torso, keeping it steady as it walked. Its legs, thick and strong, carried its weight across miles of terrain. Its small arms, though often noted, were powerful in their own right, possibly used to hold or steady prey. Every part of its body, from its skull to its tail, was part of a design built not for speed alone but for strength, stability, and survival. To see Tyrannosaurus rex clearly is to see elegance hidden within size. And though its teeth are often remembered for their sharpness, they were also patient tools. Dozens of conical teeth lined its jaws, thick and strong, built to crush bone as well as flesh. Yet they were not used constantly. A Tyrannosaurus rex might feed heavily after a hunt or a scavenged meal and then rest for days, even weeks, before needing to eat again. Its teeth were not instruments of constant violence, but part of a rhythm of feast and stillness, activity and calm. The senses of Tyrannosaurus rex added another layer of balance. Studies of its skull suggest it had excellent eyesight, perhaps able to see detail from great distances. Its sense of smell, guided by large olfactory bulbs in its brain, was highly developed, allowing it to track scents over miles. Its hearing, too, was keen, tuned to low frequencies that carried across long distances. Together, these senses made it not a frantic hunter but a careful observer, moving when needed, waiting when not, always in tune with the world around it. In the quiet of the Cretaceous night, one can imagine a Tyrannosaurus rex moving slowly through a forest clearing, its breath steady, its steps deliberate. Above, the stars shone as they do today, though the constellations were younger, the Earth's continents arranged differently. Fireflies drifted above ferns, frogs croaked along riverbanks, and the great predator walked not in fury but in calm presence, part of the same living silence that filled the land. The image of Tyrannosaurus rex as a roaring beast belongs more to modern imagination than to its real life. In truth, it was a creature of balance, guided by patience, built for endurance and shaped by cycles of rest and activity. Its world was filled with forests, rivers, herds, and skies painted in soft colors of dawn and dusk. To live as Tyrannosaurus rex did was not to dominate endlessly but to exist in harmony with the rhythms of the earth. And as we follow its story further, we begin to see the details of its body more closely. The length of its bones, the curve of its claws, the strength of its muscles, the patterns of its growth. These details show not a monster but a masterpiece of design, a creature sculpted by time, carrying within it both power and patience. From the calm of its environment, we move next into the calm of its form, seeing how every part of Tyrannosaurus rex was shaped for balance, endurance, and survival. To understand Tyrannosaurus rex more deeply, we must look closely at its body, not as a symbol of terror, but as a structure of balance, strength, and patient design. Every bone, every muscle, every curve of its frame was part of a rhythm, shaped by millions of years of evolution to create a creature both powerful and calm, immense yet graceful in its own way. The skeleton of Tyrannosaurus rex was a masterpiece of proportion. Its skull could stretch over 5 feet long, yet it was filled with air spaces that made it lighter than its size suggests. This balance of strength and lightness allowed it to carry its head without strain, to move it steadily, and to use its senses effectively. Each tooth was set deep in the jaw, replaced throughout its life whenever one was lost. The jaw itself was massive, hinged with muscles that could close with extraordinary force, yet still part of a system that conserved energy, used only when needed. Its body stretched nearly 40 feet from head to tail. Yet despite this size, it carried itself with surprising stability. Its tail, long and muscular, acted as a counterweight to its head and torso. This balance allowed Tyrannosaurus rex to walk with ease, its center of gravity steady over its hips. To imagine it walking is to picture not a clumsy giant but a creature moving with slow confidence, each step placed carefully, each movement part of a quiet rhythm. The legs of Tyrannosaurus rex were thick, strong, and built for support. They were not the limbs of a sprinter but of a walker, carrying its weight over long distances. Its feet bore 3 large toes tipped with claws, spreading the load as it stepped. Fossilized footprints show impressions that suggest a steady gait, firm but deliberate. These prints, preserved in stone for millions of years, are records of calm movement, silent walks across ancient mud. Its arms, though small compared to its body, were powerful in their own right. Each ended in 2 strong claws, capable of gripping firmly. Scientists still debate their exact use, perhaps to hold prey, perhaps to assist in rising from the ground. Whatever their role, they were not useless but part of the harmony of its design, shaped with purpose even if subtle. The muscles of Tyrannosaurus rex added to its quiet strength. Its neck held the power to move its heavy skull with precision, while its chest anchored muscles for breathing and balance. Its tail was lined with muscles that helped it turn, adjust, and steady itself as it walked. Altogether, the body of Tyrannosaurus rex was not built for chaos but for control, for measured movement across its world. Growth, too, was part of its calm rhythm. Fossils of young Tyrannosaurus rexes show that they grew steadily over many years, from hatchlings the size of chickens to giants weighing several tons. Growth rings in their bones, like the rings of trees, reveal patterns of patient development, years of slow increase, followed by faster spurts as they matured. This steady path to adulthood shows the patience of life itself, the quiet persistence that brings small beginnings into towering presence. The skin of Tyrannosaurus rex, though not preserved in detail everywhere, may have been a mix of scales and, in young ones, possibly small feathers. These coverings protected its body, blending it with its environment. Its colors are unknown, but scientists imagine earthy tones, browns, greens, or mottled patterns, that allowed it to move quietly through forests and plains. To imagine its appearance is to picture not a beast of horror but a creature fitting gently into its world, shaped for balance with its environment. Every detail of its body points to a creature in tune with its world. Its senses, its muscles, its bones, all were part of a design shaped not for constant frenzy but for steady endurance. Tyrannosaurus rex lived not by rushing endlessly but by moving carefully, conserving strength and acting with patience. Its body was a record of calm adaptation, every feature part of a balanced whole. When we look at fossils today, the skeletons displayed in museums may seem still, frozen in stone. Yet each bone once carried motion, each muscle once flowed with life. To walk among these skeletons is to imagine the quiet steps of Tyrannosaurus rex across soft ground, the sway of its tail, the slow turn of its head. What remains is a reminder that the past was not chaotic but rhythmic, filled with the same calm motions that guide life today. And as we study its body, we see more than just structure. We see the patience of time, the harmony of evolution, the balance between strength and silence. The body of Tyrannosaurus rex was not an accident but the result of countless generations, each one adding to the design, shaping a creature both immense and graceful. From its body, the story flows naturally into its senses, the ways it experienced the world around it. For to understand Tyrannosaurus rex fully, we must step into its perspective, to see through its eyes, smell through its nostrils, and hear through its ears. Only then can we truly imagine how it lived, not as a monster but as a calm participant in the rhythm of Earth. To step more deeply into the life of Tyrannosaurus rex, we must imagine the world as it sensed it, not the world as we see it from fossils, but the world as it lived it, moment by moment. Its body was immense, but its experience of the earth was defined by its senses, tuned to survival, shaped by balance, and far more refined than its size might suggest. To picture Tyrannosaurus rex clearly is to see through its eyes, to breathe through its nostrils, and to hear the quiet vibrations of its ancient world. The eyesight of Tyrannosaurus rex was powerful. Studies of its skull suggest that its eyes faced forward, giving it binocular vision, the ability to judge depth and distance. This was rare among dinosaurs, many of which had eyes on the sides of their heads. Forward-facing eyes gave Tyrannosaurus rex a sense of focus, allowing it to track movement with clarity. The size of its eye sockets hints at large eyes, likely capable of gathering light even in dim conditions. Imagine a Tyrannosaurus rex at dusk, its gaze steady across a field, seeing with clarity where others might only see shadow. Its vision was not frantic but patient, allowing it to wait, to observe, to move only when necessary. Its sense of smell was even more remarkable. Within its skull, the olfactory bulbs, the parts of the brain devoted to scent, were enormous. This suggests that Tyrannosaurus rex could detect smells across miles, perhaps tracking a carcass, sensing the presence of prey, or following the scent of another Tyrannosaurus rex. In a world without maps or compasses, smell was a guide, carrying messages of food, danger, or companionship across the air. To imagine this is to picture Tyrannosaurus rex walking slowly through forests, its nostrils wide, its breath steady, the world of scent painting a landscape as vivid to it as colors are to us. Hearing added another layer of perception. The inner ear bones of Tyrannosaurus rex suggest it was sensitive to low-frequency sounds, vibrations that carry farther than high notes. It may have been able to hear the footsteps of large animals across valleys, or the distant rumble of thunder. Low sounds pass through the earth itself, and so Tyrannosaurus rex may have experienced not only the air but the ground beneath as alive with quiet messages. Each vibration would have been part of its awareness, weaving together a tapestry of sound that spoke of life around it. These senses worked together, not in chaos but in harmony. Tyrannosaurus rex did not need to rush, for its vision could see far, its smell could track wide, and its hearing could detect faint movements. It was not forced into frantic pursuit, but guided by patience. A single meal could sustain it for days or weeks, and so it could wait, moving only when the world told it that the time was right. Its senses were not only tools of hunting, but instruments of calm awareness, tuning it into the rhythms of its environment. To imagine how it felt to be a Tyrannosaurus rex is to step into an ancient calm. The air was warm and humid, filled with the scent of plants, animals, and water. The forests echoed with distant calls of hadrosaurs, the rustle of leaves stirred by ankylosaurs moving slowly through undergrowth, the hum of insects in the evening air. The world was alive with messages, and Tyrannosaurus rex, with its keen senses, was fully attuned to them. Its presence in this world was not one of chaos but of steady participation in its cycles. Even its jaws, though capable of immense force, were part of this sensory design. The nerves in its mouth may have been sensitive enough to detect pressure, helping it adjust its bite. Its teeth, constantly replaced, ensured that it was never without tools for survival. Yet these were used sparingly. Most of the time, Tyrannosaurus rex likely walked, observed, smelled, and listened. Its senses were engaged far more often than its jaws. The image of constant violence fades, replaced by a picture of a creature immersed in awareness, living not in frenzy but in observation. The patience of its senses reminds us that survival is often more about waiting than acting. Like eagles circling high above, like wolves listening in forests, Tyrannosaurus rex lived in rhythms of stillness punctuated by moments of motion. Its senses gave it confidence, allowing it to rest in silence, knowing that when the time came it would know. There was no need for constant haste, for the world itself spoke to it, guiding its steps with clarity. To reflect on this is to see the balance in its life. A creature remembered as fearsome was, in truth, defined by awareness, by sight, scent, and sound woven together into calm vigilance. It lived in a world rich with signals, patient in responding, steady in waiting. This was its true nature, not a roaring monster but a listener, a watcher, a presence balanced in the rhythms of the Cretaceous earth. And from its senses, the story flows naturally to its movement, how this giant walked, how it carried its weight, how it moved through forests and plains with surprising grace. To imagine its gait, its steps, and its pace is to complete the picture of a creature built not only for strength but for steady, measured motion, always in rhythm with the land it walked upon. The body of Tyrannosaurus rex was immense, yet it was built to move with balance and purpose. To imagine this great creature walking across the plains of the late Cretaceous is not to picture chaos, but a steady, deliberate rhythm. Its steps were not hurried, its motion not frantic, but measured and calm, shaped by the design of its bones, muscles, and tail. Movement, for Tyrannosaurus rex, was part of its harmony with the world. Its legs were the pillars of this movement. Thick and strong, they carried its weight with ease. Fossilized footprints show impressions deep in the mud, spaced far apart, suggesting strides that covered ground steadily. The bones of the legs reveal powerful muscles, but also joints that allowed smooth, controlled motion. Tyrannosaurus rex could walk for miles, not with haste but with endurance, conserving its energy as it moved across forests, rivers, and open plains. Speed has long fascinated scientists and storytellers. Could such a massive creature run? The evidence suggests that while Tyrannosaurus rex was strong, it was not built for sprinting. Its size made running risky, for a fall could cause serious injury. Instead, it likely moved at a walking or fast-walking pace, covering ground efficiently without strain. Some estimates suggest it could move as quickly as 15 miles per hour, not slow but steady like a horse's trot. For Tyrannosaurus rex this was enough. It did not need constant speed, for its senses and patience guided its survival. Its tail played a central role in this balance. Long and muscular, it stretched behind like a counterweight, keeping the body steady. As the head and torso leaned forward, the tail extended backward, ensuring that every step was even. This balance allowed Tyrannosaurus rex to move smoothly, preventing clumsiness despite its size. To picture it walking is to see a rhythm. Head forward, legs steady, tail swaying gently, each part moving in harmony with the others. The feet of Tyrannosaurus rex were broad, ending in 3 large toes tipped with claws. These spread its weight, gripping the ground with each step. Some fossils even suggest a smaller 4th toe that may have helped with stability. The impressions left behind, preserved in stone, are like signatures across time, records of its calm steps across mudflats and riverbanks. Each footprint is not a mark of terror, but of presence, evidence of a creature moving steadily through its world. Its arms, though small, may have aided in movement too. While they were not used for walking, they could have helped with balance when the creature shifted its weight or rose from the ground. Every part of its body, from arms to tail, contributed to the quiet control of its motion. Nothing was wasted, nothing without purpose. The energy of Tyrannosaurus rex was spent carefully. Like lions today, it may have spent much of its time resting, conserving strength for when it was truly needed. When it moved, it did so deliberately, guided by senses that told it where to go and when. There was no frantic rushing, no endless chase. Its life was one of patience, and its movement reflected this calm efficiency. Imagine a Tyrannosaurus rex walking along a riverbank at dawn. Mist rises from the water, the air is cool, and the forest echoes with distant calls of hadrosaurs. Each step sinks into soft earth, leaving prints that will remain long after it passes. Its breath is steady, its eyes scanning the horizon, its tail swaying gently behind. This is not the image of chaos but of presence, a giant moving in rhythm with its world, calm and steady beneath the rising sun. Even in moments of action, its motion carried control. When closing in on prey or feeding from a carcass, its body moved with precision, not frenzy. Muscles pulled steadily, jaws closed firmly, balance held constant. Its movements were powerful, but always within the design of its body, no wasted effort, no reckless bursts. The calm of its daily life extended even into its moments of survival. The grace of its movement teaches us something about balance. Size does not need to mean clumsiness, and power does not need to mean chaos. Tyrannosaurus rex, though immense, was built to move smoothly, each step measured, each stride efficient. In this way, it embodied the patience of nature itself, showing us that strength is best used with care, and that endurance outlasts haste. From its movement, the story flows into its role in the ecosystem. For motion was not an end in itself, but part of a larger rhythm. How it hunted, how it scavenged, how it interacted with the other creatures of its world. To see Tyrannosaurus rex moving through the landscape is to see it woven into a cycle of life, fire, silence, and renewal. And so, from its steady steps, we turn next to its place in the balance of nature, as both predator and participant in the harmony of the Cretaceous. To see Tyrannosaurus rex clearly, we must place it within its ecosystem, not as a creature apart but as one thread in the fabric of the late Cretaceous. Its size and strength did not make it ruler of its world, but participant in a balance that included forests, rivers, insects, and herds of dinosaurs both great and small. Tyrannosaurus rex was a predator, yes, but also a scavenger, and above all a partner in the cycles that sustained life. The image of Tyrannosaurus rex as an unstoppable hunter chasing down prey at every opportunity is more fiction than fact. In reality, most large predators, both ancient and modern, balance hunting with scavenging. Lions rest most of the day, feeding only when needed, and wolves may consume a carcass left by another's hunt. In the same way, Tyrannosaurus rex likely found meals where it could, sometimes through a hunt, other times by taking over the remains of another creature. Its senses gave it the ability to track food across vast distances, ensuring that little went to waste in its world. Evidence from its teeth supports this dual role. Fossil bones show bite marks where teeth of Tyrannosaurus rex pressed deep, sometimes healing afterward. This suggests it may have tested its strength on living prey, delivering wounds rather than always finishing a kill immediately. Other fossils show signs of scavenging, where bones were broken apart for the marrow inside. Its jaws, capable of crushing bone, were tools not only of hunting but of recycling. In both roles, Tyrannosaurus rex helped keep the ecosystem in balance, removing the weak, consuming the dead, and feeding life forward. The prey it lived alongside were not defenseless victims but part of the same cycle. Triceratops, with its horns and frill, could defend itself fiercely. Ankylosaurs carried armor and heavy tails capable of striking with force. Hadrosaurs moved in herds, their numbers offering protection. To attempt to hunt was not guaranteed success but a challenge requiring patience and care. This balance ensured that no single creature dominated endlessly, but that all lived within limits, fire checked by strength, size balanced by defense. Scavenging also gave Tyrannosaurus rex a role as a cleaner of its world. Carcasses left too long can spread disease or draw pests. By consuming what remained, Tyrannosaurus rex ensured that nutrients returned quickly to the cycle, feeding not only itself but the soil and smaller creatures that followed. In this way, it was less a terror than a caretaker, keeping its ecosystem healthy in ways invisible but essential. Its role as predator and scavenger reminds us that life is rarely one thing alone. Strength is balanced with patience, hunting with waiting, action with silence. Tyrannosaurus rex embodied this balance, not driven by endless hunger but guided by rhythm. Eat, rest, observe, and move again only when needed. Its presence was steady, shaping the world not with chaos but with constancy. The ecosystem around it was equally steady. Herds of hadrosaurs grazed across plains, their footsteps soft in the mud. Triceratops gathered in small groups, their frills catching sunlight, their horns ready to defend. Ankylosaurs moved slowly, their armor gleaming with dew in the morning light. Together with smaller dinosaurs, reptiles, birds, and mammals, they created a living mosaic. Tyrannosaurus rex was not separate but part of this tapestry, one presence among many. Even the plants were part of this balance. Flowering plants spread across the land, their blossoms attracting insects and birds. Ferns and cycads grew in clusters, covering riverbanks and forest floors. Trees towered, their roots anchoring soil, their leaves shading the ground. This vegetation sustained the herbivores, which in turn sustained the predators and scavengers. Tyrannosaurus rex, though immense, was part of this cycle, dependent on the quiet work of leaves, roots, and rivers. When we imagine Tyrannosaurus rex feeding, we should picture not frenzy but rhythm. Perhaps it waited in the shade, its senses alert, watching a herd pass by. Perhaps it walked slowly across a plain, following the scent of a carcass carried by the wind. Perhaps it fed deeply, then rested for days, its body digesting while it lay in silence. This was not a life of constant battle, but of patience, where stillness outweighed action and balance defined survival. The lesson of Tyrannosaurus rex in its ecosystem is clear. Even the strongest creatures are bound to the same cycles as all life. Fire must rest, strength must balance, and survival is never chaos alone. Just as rivers flow, forests grow, and winds shift, so too did Tyrannosaurus rex live by rhythms of balance. Its world was not a battlefield but a harmony, each creature part of a system older than memory. From its role in balance, the story of Tyrannosaurus rex moves into how we know these truths today. The fossils it left behind, the skeletons uncovered by patient hands, the footprints preserved in stone. These records are the way its life whispers to us across millions of years, reminders that silence holds memory, and that even giants leave gentle traces behind. The story of Tyrannosaurus rex is not told by living eyes but by stone. What we know of this great creature comes from fossils, bones, teeth, footprints, and fragments preserved by time. These remains, silent in themselves, speak patiently when studied, offering clues to the life of an animal that walked the earth 66 million years ago. To uncover a fossil is to uncover a whisper from the past, a reminder that even giants leave gentle traces behind. The first fragments of what we now call Tyrannosaurus rex were found in the early 1900s. At first they were little more than scattered bones, a tooth here, a jawbone there. Yet even these fragments hinted at something immense, something unlike anything alive today. Over time, paleontologists carefully unearthed more skeletons, slowly piecing together the body of Tyrannosaurus rex. Each discovery was patient work, digging, brushing, preserving, a process as steady as the earth itself. Among the most famous fossils is Sioux, discovered in South Dakota in 1990. This specimen is one of the most complete Tyrannosaurus rex skeletons ever found, with over 90% of its bones preserved. Today, Sioux rests in a museum, her immense skull and towering frame displayed for all to see. Yet despite her size, the impression she leaves is not of terror but of awe, a silent reminder of life's scale, preserved in stone. Standing before her skeleton, one feels the patience of time, the stillness of a story written in bone. Another renowned fossil is Stan, uncovered in the 1980s. Stan's skeleton provided crucial insights into how Tyrannosaurus rex lived, how its neck moved, how its jaw closed, how its body balanced. Casts of Stan's bones are displayed in museums worldwide, allowing people across the globe to stand before the quiet remains of a giant. Each cast carries the same calm message. Here once walked a creature immense yet balanced, a participant in life's rhythm millions of years ago. Fossils do not only preserve bones. They also preserve footprints, impressions pressed into soft mud that later hardened into stone. Tyrannosaurus rex tracks found in North America reveal details of its stride, its speed, and its weight. These footprints are moments frozen in time, a single step carried forward through millions of years. To stand before them is to imagine the quiet step of a Tyrannosaurus rex across a plain, the weight of its body sinking gently into wet ground, leaving behind a print that would outlast ages. Teeth too tell a story. Tyrannosaurus rex teeth were thick and conical, unlike the sharp blades of some predators. They were designed to crush bone, to break through the hardest parts of its prey. Fossils show that Tyrannosaurus rex shed teeth throughout its life, replacing them as needed. Some fossil sites are littered with these teeth, like breadcrumbs left behind in time. Each tooth is a reminder that even the most powerful parts of a creature are renewed patiently, again and again. Scientists study these fossils with care, using modern tools to uncover hidden details. CT scans reveal the structure of skulls, showing the size of the brain and the spaces for smell and vision. Microscopes uncover growth rings in bones like rings in trees, showing how Tyrannosaurus rex grew year by year. Chemical analysis reveals traces of proteins, whispers of ancient biology preserved in stone. Each method adds another piece to the puzzle, deepening the picture of a creature that once lived calmly in balance with its world. The patience of paleontology mirrors the patience of the earth. Fossils do not reveal their secrets quickly. They must be uncovered, cleaned, studied, and compared. Each bone must be placed carefully in relation to others, each fragment considered with care. In this way, the study of Tyrannosaurus rex is not an act of rushing but of listening to what the stones say, listening to what the earth has carried through time. And through this patient study we see more than bones. We see evidence of behavior. Some fossils show healed injuries, suggesting that Tyrannosaurus rex survived battles and lived on afterward. Others show bite marks from other Tyrannosaurus rexes, hinting at competition or perhaps even feeding on their own kind. Still others show wear on teeth, marks of long use. These are not just bones but lives lived, stories written in the details of survival and resilience. Every fossil is a bridge across time, connecting us to a world that has long since passed. They remind us that even giants leave gentle traces, that silence carries memory, and that the past is never truly lost. In the bones of Tyrannosaurus rex, we see not only the structure of an animal but the persistence of life itself, carried forward patiently through millions of years. From fossils, the story of Tyrannosaurus rex moves naturally into the environments that preserve them. For bones do not rest alone. They are buried in soils, sands, and rocks that once were forests, rivers, and plains. To understand the fossils is to understand the world they came from, the calm landscapes of the late Cretaceous, where rivers wound slowly, plants spread widely, and creatures lived in balance under warm skies. To understand Tyrannosaurus rex fully, we must picture not only its bones but the world it inhabited. The late Cretaceous period, around 66 million years ago, was a time of warmth, abundance, and balance. The continents were not as they are today, the seas were higher, and the climate was mild and humid. The earth then was alive with forests, rivers, and plains that stretched wide beneath skies filled with birds and insects. It was a world not of chaos but of rhythm, where Tyrannosaurus rex walked as part of the harmony of life. In what is now North America, the land was divided by an inland sea, called the Western Interior Seaway, stretching from the Arctic Ocean to the Gulf of Mexico. To the west lay mountain ranges and volcanic activity, to the east broad coastal plains. Between them were forests and floodplains, dotted with rivers and lakes. This landscape was the home of Tyrannosaurus rex, a place of water and green, of herds and predators, of silence and sound. The forests of the Cretaceous were rich and varied. Flowering plants, which had first appeared millions of years earlier, now spread widely. Oaks, magnolias, and palms grew alongside ancient ferns and cycads. Their leaves formed canopies that shaded the ground, where insects hummed and small creatures scurried. The air was warm, carrying the scent of flowers and damp soil. This was the environment where Tyrannosaurus rex walked, its massive body weaving among trees, its senses alert to the movements of life around it. Rivers wound through these forests, their waters carrying fish, turtles, and crocodiles. Along the banks, hadrosaurs grazed, lowering their heads to drink. Dragonflies hovered above the surface, and amphibians croaked in the reeds. The presence of water drew life together, creating places of calm where many species gathered. To imagine Tyrannosaurus rex approaching such a river is to picture not frenzy, but slow, steady motion, blending into the rhythm of the land. The plains beyond the forests held herds of larger dinosaurs. Triceratops moved in groups, their horns gleaming in the sun, their frills catching light. Ankylosaurs wandered slowly, their armor reflecting strength. Duck-billed hadrosaurs grazed on plants, their calls echoing across the land like the low sounds of geese. These herds created movement and sound in the open spaces, while above early birds circled, their wings carrying them across warm skies. The climate itself was gentle. The late Cretaceous was warmer than today with no polar ice caps. Seasons shifted slowly, bringing rains and growth, then dryness and calm. The warmth allowed lush vegetation to thrive, supporting the herds that in turn sustained predators. Nights were mild, filled with stars and the calls of nocturnal creatures. Days carried breezes through forests, rustling leaves and carrying scents across the plains. The world of Tyrannosaurus rex was not a wasteland but a living garden, rich and balanced. Even the skies carried life. Insects buzzed in swarms, pollinating flowers and feeding birds. Pterosaurs, great reptiles of the air, soared overhead, some as large as small planes, their wings casting shadows across the land. Smaller birds perched in trees, their songs adding to the soundscape. Above Tyrannosaurus rex, the skies were alive with motion, yet filled with the same calm rhythm that guided the ground below. Every detail of this environment shaped Tyrannosaurus rex. Its keen sense of smell carried scents from across the forests and plains. Its eyes scanned herds moving across open land. Its ears caught the low calls of distant animals and the rumble of storms. The landscape was its partner, offering food, water, shelter, and silence. In this world, Tyrannosaurus rex was not separate but part of the cycle, living with the same patience as the rivers and the same rhythm as the forests. The fossils we uncover today are often buried in rocks formed from these ancient environments. Bones preserved in riverbeds tell of creatures who lived near the water. Impressions in mud reveal where feet pressed into soft ground. Ash layers mark times of volcanic activity, sealing the remains of plants and animals. Each fossil is a piece of the world itself, carrying the memory of the environment as much as the creature. In this way, the land has preserved not only Tyrannosaurus rex but the calm setting of its life. To picture Tyrannosaurus rex clearly, then, is to picture it within this environment. It is not a monster roaring in emptiness, but a creature walking beneath trees, along rivers and across plains filled with life. Its steps were steady, its presence balanced, its role part of the greater harmony of the Cretaceous. It was immense, yes, but not chaotic. It was a participant in Earth's cycles, one presence among many, shaped by the land it walked upon. From this environment, the story of Tyrannosaurus rex flows naturally to the creatures it lived alongside. For no being lives alone. Just as the forests, rivers, and skies shaped Tyrannosaurus rex, so too did the other dinosaurs of its world, the horned Triceratops, the armored Ankylosaurs, the herds of hadrosaurs. Together, they formed the living community of the late Cretaceous, a tapestry of life in which Tyrannosaurus rex played its role with patience and balance. No creature lives alone, and Tyrannosaurus rex was no exception. Its world was filled with other dinosaurs, each carrying their own rhythms, their own roles in the harmony of the late Cretaceous. To understand Tyrannosaurus rex fully, we must see it not as a solitary figure, but as part of a living community, moving quietly among horned giants, armored wanderers, and vast herds that grazed the land. Together they formed a balance that sustained life across forests, rivers, and plains. Perhaps the most famous companion of Tyrannosaurus rex was Triceratops. With its 3 horns and great frill, Triceratops was a presence of both strength and calm. Fossils suggest it lived in groups, wandering the plains in small herds, grazing on low plants. Their horns were not only weapons but tools of balance, guiding interactions within the herd and offering defense against predators. To picture Triceratops in its world is to imagine a quiet procession of giants, their footsteps steady, their movements patient. For Tyrannosaurus rex, these herds were both challenge and sustenance, part of the rhythm of survival. Ankylosaurs added another layer of resilience. These low, armored dinosaurs were covered in bony plates, their bodies like moving fortresses. At the end of their tails, some carried heavy clubs capable of swinging with great force. Yet their lives were not filled with combat. They moved slowly, grazing peacefully on ferns and shrubs, their armor serving more as assurance than as aggression. To see an ankylosaur is to see patience embodied, a creature that relied on stillness and defense, balanced perfectly within its world. 4. Tyrannosaurus rex. These armored wanderers were not easy prey but reminders that strength takes many forms. Hadrosaurs, or duck-billed dinosaurs, formed the great herds of the Cretaceous. They grazed across open plains, feeding on plants, their numbers offering safety. Their skulls carried crests of many shapes, some hollow, perhaps used to make sounds that echoed like horns across the land. Imagine a dawn in the Cretaceous, mist rising as a herd of hadrosaurs calls softly, their voices carrying through forests and valleys. These herds were part of the rhythm of life, providing food for predators, but also shaping the land through their grazing, spreading seeds and sustaining forests. 4. Tyrannosaurus rex. They were constant presences, not always hunted but always part of the background of its life. Smaller dinosaurs filled the spaces in between. Ornithomimids, swift and slender, darted across open land like ancient ostriches, their steps light and quick. Dromaeosaurs, close relatives of birds, moved in small packs, agile and keen. Their presence added variety to the ecosystem, each one playing a role, each one part of the balance. Even small mammals scurried through undergrowth, feeding on seeds and insects, living quietly beneath the feet of giants. The skies, too, were part of this community. Pterosaurs soared above, their wings carrying them over rivers and forests. Some were small, skimming fish from the water, while others, like Quetzalcoatlus, spread wings wider than small planes. Birds also flew among the trees, their songs adding to the chorus of the land. Above Tyrannosaurus rex, the air was alive, part of the same harmony that guided the ground below. The presence of all these creatures shaped the behavior of Tyrannosaurus rex. It did not live in isolation, but in response to the movement of herds, the defenses of armored giants, and the songs of hadrosaurs. Every step it took was part of this larger rhythm. When it hunted within balance. When it scavenged, it did so within the cycle of renewal. Its life was not domination, but participation in an ecosystem where every creature had its role. Evidence from fossils suggests these interactions were real and frequent. Bite marks on Triceratops bones show attempts at hunting, while healed wounds reveal that many survived such encounters, living on after facing the great predator. Ankylosaur fossils show damaged armor, hinting at struggles, yet also at resilience. Even hadrosaur fossils carry marks of teeth, some healed, some final. These traces are not stories of chaos, but of balance, predator and prey shaping one another, both surviving through patience and adaptation. To imagine the late Cretaceous fully, we must picture it as a mosaic. Herds moved like rivers across plains, forests whispered with smaller creatures, skies filled with wings, and rivers carried fish and turtles beneath the surface. Tyrannosaurus rex walked among all of this, immense yet part of the same pattern, its life bound to the same cycles as the smallest insect or the tallest tree. The calm truth is that the world of Tyrannosaurus rex was not one of endless battles, but of coexistence. Each creature had its defenses, its strengths, and its rhythms. Together they formed a system where no single being held power forever, but where balance endured. The horned Triceratops, the armored Ankylosaur, the herding hadrosaurs, all lived alongside Tyrannosaurus rex, sharing the land, the rivers, and the skies. From here, the story flows to the climate itself. The weather and seasons of the late Cretaceous, the gentle warmth, the rains, the breezes, and the skies that shaped the daily lives of these creatures. For to picture Tyrannosaurus rex fully, we must also picture the air it breathed, the storms it endured, the sunsets it saw, and the stars that shone above its world. To see Tyrannosaurus rex clearly, we must imagine not only the creatures it lived beside but the air it breathed, the skies above, and the weather that shaped its world. The late Cretaceous period was a time of warmth and abundance, a climate that allowed vast forests, wide rivers, and countless species to thrive. The environment was not harsh and empty, but gentle and sustaining, carrying the rhythms of seasons, rains, and breezes that set the pace of life. The Earth then was warmer than it is today. There were no ice caps at the poles, and the seas stood higher, flooding low-lying regions into shallow seas. The western interior seaway divided North America, creating a broad inland ocean that stretched for thousands of miles. Its waters reflected the skies, carrying marine reptiles, fish, and ammonites. Along its coasts, plains and forests spread outward, where Tyrannosaurus rex and its companions roamed. This warm climate provided balance, supporting a diversity of plants and animals unlike any seen before. Seasons in the Cretaceous were gentler than the sharp winters and summers we know today. Winters were mild, with only subtle shifts in temperature, while summers were warm and humid, encouraging rapid growth of plants. Rainfall was common, feeding rivers and lakes, while storms rolled across the plains with slow patience. The air carried moisture, filled with the scent of flowers and soil, wrapping the land in a cycle of growth and renewal. For Tyrannosaurus rex, this meant a steady supply of food, both in the herds of herbivores that grazed and in the forests that sheltered them. The skies of the Cretaceous were often filled with clouds, painted by the rising and setting sun into shades of red, orange, and gold. Without the glare of modern city lights, the nights would have been dark and clear, stars shining brightly across the sky. Imagine a Tyrannosaurus rex resting at dusk, the horizon glowing softly, while above the Milky Way stretched like a band of light. The same constellations we know today shone then, though the continents beneath them were arranged differently. Even in deep time the sky was a constant, calm, vast, and eternal. The atmosphere itself carried more carbon dioxide than today, enriching the growth of plants. Ferns spread widely, flowering plants blossomed, and forests grew dense and tall. This abundance fed the herbivores whose presence sustained the predators. The very air, rich with warmth and carbon, was part of the balance that allowed Tyrannosaurus rex to thrive. Each breath it took was part of a larger cycle. Air from plants, plants fed by soil, soil enriched by ancient fire. The weather shaped daily life gently. Rain nourished the land, pooling in rivers and wetlands. Storms, though powerful, passed in rhythms, their winds bending trees but leaving forests to recover. Fossilized soils and sediments tell of floodplains, where rivers rose and fell with the seasons. These waters carved paths through the land, creating habitats for turtles, crocodiles, fish, and birds. For Tyrannosaurus rex, such places were gathering points. Rivers where herds drank, plains where vegetation was rich, valleys where sound carried in the air. Even storms carried calm within them. The rumble of thunder echoed across wide valleys, heard by the sensitive ears of Tyrannosaurus rex long before the clouds appeared. Lightning split the skies, but afterward the rains came, cooling the air and feeding the land. After storms, plants grew more lush, rivers swelled, and life continued in renewed abundance. The rhythm of weather was not disruption but part of the steady flow of balance, always cycling back to calm. The climate of the Cretaceous also allowed creatures to grow to great sizes. Warmth and abundant vegetation supported herds of hadrosaurs, ankylosaurs, and ceratopsians, which in turn supported predators like Tyrannosaurus rex. This was not a world of scarcity but one of richness. Food was available, water was plentiful, and the land carried life in many forms. Tyrannosaurus rex's immense body was sustained not by chaos but by abundance, by a climate that offered constancy over millions of years. To picture the daily life of Tyrannosaurus rex is to picture it within this climate. Mornings began with mist rising from rivers, sunlight streaming through forests, dew sparkling on leaves. Afternoons carried warmth, herds grazing quietly, birds calling from trees. Evenings brought cooler air, herds settling into rest, the skies glowing in colors softened by the atmosphere. Nights held stars, the soft chorus of insects, and the quiet breath of giants moving in the dark. Every day unfolded in cycles, shaped by gentle weather, balanced by calm skies. The late Cretaceous climate reminds us that life thrives where balance is steady. Volcanoes breathed gases into the air, rivers carried minerals through the land, plants drew energy from the sun, and animals lived within this circle. Tyrannosaurus rex, though remembered for its power, was part of this calm design, one creature among many sustained by the harmony of air, water, and soil. From the climate, the story of Tyrannosaurus rex turns naturally to time itself, how it grew from a fragile hatchling into a towering adult. For its life, like its world, was shaped not by haste but by patience, by years of steady growth, each stage carrying it closer to the giant we imagine today. The Tyrannosaurus rex we imagine, towering, immense and powerful, did not begin that way. Like every creature, it started small, fragile, and dependent, its life shaped by patience and growth. To follow its journey from egg to adult is to see the rhythm of time at work, a process as steady as the flow of rivers or the growth of forests. The life of Tyrannosaurus rex was not sudden, but gradual, each stage part of a calm unfolding. It began with eggs, laid in nests carefully chosen by parents. Fossil evidence of close relatives suggests that many large theropods built nests on the ground, often in open areas warmed by the sun. The eggs were not enormous, but closer in size to those of modern birds, clustered together in shallow depressions lined with plants or soil. Within each shell, a fragile embryo grew slowly, nourished by the world outside, waiting for the right moment to emerge. When the hatchlings broke free, they were small, no larger than a chicken, weighing only a few pounds. Their bodies were slender, their bones delicate, their teeth tiny compared to the massive jaws they would one day develop. In these early days they were vulnerable, dependent on cover, quickness, and perhaps even the care of parents. Some scientists believe that Tyrannosaurus rex parents may have protected their young, guarding nests and guiding hatchlings until they were strong enough to survive alone. Whether tended or independent, these small creatures carried within them the quiet promise of greatness. As juveniles, Tyrannosaurus rexes grew steadily, their bodies changing year by year. Growth rings in fossilized bones, much like the rings of trees, reveal how they added size each season. At first, their growth was gradual, but during adolescence it accelerated, carrying them from small predators to giants in a matter of decades. This growth was not chaotic but patient, a rhythm shaped by time and sustenance. Each year added strength, muscle, and bone, until the slender juveniles grew into towering adults. Young Tyrannosaurus rexes may have lived differently from their elders. Their lighter frames and longer legs suggest they could move more quickly, perhaps chasing smaller prey or scavenging with agility. This allowed them to occupy a different role in the ecosystem, avoiding direct competition with larger adults. In this way, each stage of growth had its own rhythm, its own balance within the larger world. The young were fast and agile, the adults powerful and enduring. Together, they fit within the ecosystem without conflict, each age contributing to the cycle of survival. Adulthood brought both size and stability. At full growth, Tyrannosaurus rex could reach nearly 40 feet in length and weigh up to 9 tons. Yet even then it lived not in constant motion but in balance, feeding when needed, resting often, conserving its energy. Its immense body, though intimidating, was shaped by patience. Decades of growth, careful cycles of food and rest, time and renewal. To stand before such a creature is to see not only power but the patience of years carved into its form. The growth of Tyrannosaurus rex also reveals the resilience of life. Fossils show healed injuries, evidence of broken bones that mended, teeth that were lost and replaced, wounds that closed over time. These marks tell us that Tyrannosaurus rex lived not without struggle, but with recovery, enduring pain and continuing forward. Each scar was part of its story, a sign of survival, patience, and persistence. What is most remarkable is how long Tyrannosaurus rex lived in silence compared to its brief moments of action. A single hunt may have lasted hours, but growth took decades. A meal may have lasted a day, but rest stretched for weeks. The rhythm of its life was shaped by waiting, growing, enduring, and adapting. The patience of its growth is the patience of the earth itself, steady and constant, unhurried and complete. To imagine this growth is to imagine time unfolding gently. First the egg nestled in soil. Then the hatchling, fragile in the light of dawn. Then the juvenile darting across plains. Then the adult, immense and steady, moving through forests and rivers in measured steps. Each stage is part of a whole, a cycle that mirrors the rhythms of all life: small beginnings, steady growth, enduring presence. From its growth, the story of Tyrannosaurus rex flows naturally into the possibility of its family life: nests, parents, young, and the ways it may have cared for its own. For to see Tyrannosaurus rex not only as a solitary giant but as a creature with bonds and connections deepens our understanding, showing us that even among giants, there may have been gentleness and care. When we think of Tyrannosaurus rex, we often imagine it as a solitary giant, striding alone across the plains. Yet fossils and comparisons with its close relatives suggest another possibility, that Tyrannosaurus rex may have shared bonds with its kind, cared for its young, and lived with rhythms of connection rather than isolation. To picture this is to soften the image of the predator, seeing not only its strength but also its gentleness, the patience of family life carried quietly through time. The story begins with nests. Fossil evidence from other theropod dinosaurs, cousins of Tyrannosaurus rex, shows that they built nests on the ground, often in open spaces warmed by the sun. Circular depressions lined with plants and soil cradled the eggs, arranged carefully in clusters. While no complete Tyrannosaurus rex nest has yet been discovered, it is likely that they followed similar patterns. Within these nests, life began, fragile shells holding the promise of giants. Parental care too may have been part of their rhythm. Modern birds, descendants of dinosaurs, guard and warm their eggs, tending to their hatchlings with devotion. Smaller theropod fossils suggest similar behavior, with adults found brooding nests. It is not far to imagine that Tyrannosaurus rex, too, may have lingered near its eggs, protecting them from scavengers and the elements, watching patiently as weeks passed and life stirred within. When the hatchlings emerged, they were small and vulnerable, their bones delicate, their bodies slender. Alone, they would have been easy prey for larger creatures. With care, they may have been sheltered, guided, or even fed by parents until they grew strong enough to walk the plains. The survival of a few from each nest would have been enough to continue the line, each hatchling carrying forward the patience of its ancestors. As the young grew, they may have moved in groups, learning from one another, practicing the rhythms of life. Some scientists believe that juvenile tyrannosaurs, lighter and faster than adults, may have hunted smaller prey together, while adults focused on larger meals. If true, this would suggest a cooperation across ages, a family rhythm that spread roles across generations. Adults, slow and steady, carried power. Juveniles, quick and light, carried agility. Together they may have shared the land, each age playing its part. The possibility of social bonds adds calm depth to the image of Tyrannosaurus rex. Imagine a pair of adults resting near their nest, hatchlings huddled close in the shade of ferns. The air is warm, insects hum, and the forest carries the sound of distant herds. The adults do not move in haste, for there is no need. Their senses watch for danger, but their bodies rest in stillness. This scene is not of chaos but of presence, a family held within the rhythm of the earth. Even fossils hint at connection. Bite marks on Tyrannosaurus rex bones suggest not only competition but interaction, moments of conflict and survival that occurred between individuals. Trackways hint at movement together, steps pressed into soft ground side by side. These traces, though faint, open the possibility that Tyrannosaurus rex did not live only alone but also in groups, their lives woven together by need, instinct, and perhaps even care. The growth of Tyrannosaurus rex itself suggests patience in parenting. With decades needed to reach full size, young tyrannosaurs faced long periods of vulnerability. Without guidance or protection, survival would have been slim. It is likely that at least some care was given, whether through guarding, guidance, or shared hunting. Like modern crocodiles which watch over their young in water, or birds, which teach fledglings to fly, Tyrannosaurus rex may have passed knowledge and safety across generations. Family life would have been quiet more often than active. Much of the time, hatchlings may have stayed hidden in cover, their parents resting nearby. Movement would have been careful, feeding cautious, survival guided by patience rather than haste. To imagine this is to see the softer side of giants, their power balanced by gentleness, their presence shaping not only landscapes but lives. The rhythm of care reflects the rhythm of life itself. Just as rivers carve valleys, forests shelter seedlings, and stars nurture planets, so too may Tyrannosaurus rex have sheltered its young. Strength does not erase gentleness. In nature they often coexist. For Tyrannosaurus rex, survival was not only about jaws and teeth, but about patience, endurance, and the quiet bonds of family. From nests and hatchlings, the story of Tyrannosaurus rex leads into its broader role in the ecosystem. For beyond family, it was part of a balance that included prey, scavengers, plants, and skies. To see Tyrannosaurus rex clearly, we must see its place within this harmony, not as ruler but as participant, its life one thread in the great tapestry of the Cretaceous. Tyrannosaurus rex is often remembered as a predator, a symbol of power and dominance. Yet to see it clearly, we must place it within the larger cycle of life, where no creature stands apart, and every role contributes to balance. Tyrannosaurus rex was not only a hunter but a recycler, a cleaner, and a participant in the harmony of its ecosystem. Its presence ensured that energy moved steadily, that nothing was wasted, and that life continued in quiet rhythm. As a predator, Tyrannosaurus rex influenced the behavior of the herbivores around it. Herds of hadrosaurs stayed together, their numbers offering protection. Triceratops gathered in groups, their horns raised in defense. Ankylosaurs carried armor across the plains, slow but assured. These defenses evolved not in chaos but in response to the steady presence of predators like Tyrannosaurus rex. In this way, its role shaped not only itself but the creatures around it, weaving balance into the very fabric of the Cretaceous. Yet Tyrannosaurus rex was not a predator alone. Evidence shows that it scavenged frequently, feeding on carcasses left by other creatures or claimed after their death. Its powerful jaws, capable of crushing bone, allowed it to consume every part of a body, leaving little behind. In doing so, it helped clean its environment, preventing disease and returning nutrients to the soil. What began as life and ended as death was recycled through the patience of scavengers, with Tyrannosaurus rex at the center of that cycle. Its senses, keen smell, sharp vision, deep hearing, made it a watchful participant. It could track prey from afar, but it could also locate the faintest trace of decay, guiding it to food left by chance. This adaptability ensured its survival, but it also ensured that its world was balanced. It did not rely only on one way of living, but adjusted patiently, taking from the land what was offered, never more, never less. The presence of Tyrannosaurus rex also influenced the flow of life indirectly. By feeding on weaker or injured animals, it helped keep herds healthy, ensuring that only the strongest survived to pass on their strength. By consuming the remains of the dead, it prevented waste, allowing energy to flow back into plants and soils. Its role was not only to take but to give back, shaping the ecosystem with every step, every meal, every pause. In the rivers and forests, smaller creatures benefited from this balance. Scavengers followed in the footsteps of giants, feeding on what was left behind. Insects consumed fragments, birds carried seeds, plants flourished in enriched soils. The cycle was unbroken, every piece connected, every role sustained. Tyrannosaurus rex, though immense, was simply one part of this pattern, no greater and no lesser than the rivers that flowed or the forests that grew. This balance teaches us something about the nature of strength. True strength does not dominate endlessly but exists within harmony. Tyrannosaurus rex was powerful, yet its power was balanced by patience, by silence, by cooperation with the rhythms of the earth. Its role was important but not absolute. It lived within cycles older and greater than itself, cycles that continued long before it and long after it. The fossils of prey animals carry the marks of this relationship. Triceratops' bones show healed wounds, signs of battles survived. Hadrosaur skeletons carry scars, evidence of encounters that ended not in death but in resilience. These traces remind us that life was not one-sided, but balanced, each creature testing the other, shaping behavior, and ensuring that survival required patience and adaptation. The predator did not always win, and the prey did not always lose. Balance was maintained. In this way, Tyrannosaurus rex was both feared and necessary. Without predators, herds could grow too large, consuming vegetation without limit. Without scavengers, carcasses could spread decay and disease. By playing both roles, Tyrannosaurus rex ensured that its ecosystem remained steady. Its power was not chaos but stability, a reminder that even the strongest serve balance when seen through the lens of nature's patience. To imagine this balance is to imagine the late Cretaceous as a living web. Rivers feeding forests, forests feeding herds, herds feeding predators, predators feeding soils, soils feeding plants again. At the heart of this web, Tyrannosaurus rex walked steadily, not apart but connected, not chaos but harmony. Its role was neither good nor bad, but simply part of life, an essential rhythm of existence. From its role in the ecosystem, the story of Tyrannosaurus rex flows naturally toward the landscapes themselves, the forests, the rivers, the coastlines, and the skies that framed its life. For while Tyrannosaurus rex shaped its world, the world also shaped Tyrannosaurus rex, guiding its life within the calm rhythms of land and time. The life of Tyrannosaurus rex was shaped as much by its surroundings as by its own body and senses. To see it clearly, we must step into the landscapes of the late Cretaceous, the forests and rivers, the coastlines and plains, the skies and seas that carried the rhythm of its world. These were not empty or barren places but living sanctuaries, where every sound, every breeze, and every shadow was part of a greater harmony. Forests spread widely across its home in North America. Flowering plants, which had become abundant during the Cretaceous, filled the land with color and fragrance. Magnolias, oaks, and palms grew alongside ancient ferns and cycads, their leaves creating canopies of green. Beneath them, the ground was soft with moss and shaded with shrubs. Insects buzzed in shafts of light, birds perched among branches, and small mammals scurried in the undergrowth. For Tyrannosaurus rex, these forests were both cover and pathway, places where it could move steadily, observing life around it with patience. Rivers wound through the land, carrying water from mountains to the sea. Their banks were rich with vegetation, attracting herds of hadrosaurs and triceratops to drink. Turtles basked on logs, crocodiles drifted silently beneath the surface, and dragonflies skimmed across the water. The sound of flowing water was part of the Cretaceous soundscape, a constant rhythm that shaped life for all who lived nearby. To imagine Tyrannosaurus rex standing at the edge of such a river is to picture calm presence, a giant framed by still water and whispering reeds. Beyond the forests and rivers lay plains, open spaces where herds moved like living waves. Hadrosaurs grazed in numbers, their calls echoing softly, while armored ankylosaurs wandered more slowly across the land. These plains carried breezes that rustled through grasses, carrying scents and sounds across long distances. For Tyrannosaurus rex, the plains were places of patience, where its keen senses stretched outward, where it could wait and watch, moving only when the time was right. The coastlines of the western interior seaway added another dimension to this landscape. This vast inland sea divided North America, its waters filled with marine reptiles like mosasaurs and plesiosaurs. Its shores were lined with wetlands and deltas, places rich with plants and animals. Birds skimmed the waves, fish leapt in sunlight, and the air carried the salt of the sea. Along these coasts Tyrannosaurus rex may have walked, its massive form reflected in tidal flats, its senses alive to the rhythm of wind and water. Volcanoes too were part of the land, shaping the soil and sky. Though eruptions were rare compared to the long silences between, their presence enriched the ground, feeding forests with minerals and painting sunsets with vivid hues. Ash layers preserved in stone remind us that the world of Tyrannosaurus rex was not static but alive, its landscapes shaped by both fire and renewal. Just as Tyrannosaurus rex was patient, so too was the land, always shifting, always returning to balance. The skies above were vast and filled with life. Pterosaurs soared, their wings spanning wide arcs across the horizon. Some were small, darting like seabirds. Others, like Quetzalcoatlus, were immense, gliding quietly above forests and plains. Birds flitted among trees, their songs adding lightness to the air. Clouds drifted slowly, shaped by breezes, painting the skies in patterns of shadow and sun. At night, stars filled the heavens, brilliant in the absence of modern light, their calm glow unchanged from then to now. The climate held all of this together. Warm, humid air encouraged lush vegetation. Gentle rains fed rivers and forests. Storms passed across plains, rumbling softly in the distance before giving way again to silence. Each season brought subtle changes, more rain, more sun, but none so harsh as to break the rhythm of life. The late Cretaceous was a time of abundance, a setting that sustained giants through calm balance. To imagine Tyrannosaurus rex within these landscapes is to see it as part of the scenery, not separate from it. Its footsteps pressed into riverbanks, its body moved through forests, its shadow stretched across plains. It drank from streams, rested in shade, walked beneath stars. It was immense, yes, but it was also part of the same cycles as the smallest insect or the softest breeze. Its world was a living harmony shaped by land, water, and sky. These landscapes remind us that the story of Tyrannosaurus rex is not only about teeth or bones but about place. To see it clearly is to step into forests alive with birdsong, rivers alive with fish, plains alive with herds, and skies alive with wings. Its life was part of a tapestry, woven from countless threads of life, all held together by the steady rhythm of earth. From here, the story flows naturally into its growth and presence across time. The way Tyrannosaurus rex passed through different stages of life, from hatchling to giant, and how its very body recorded the patience of its years. For just as the landscapes were shaped slowly, so too was the life of Tyrannosaurus rex, unfolding with calm persistence across decades. The image of Tyrannosaurus rex as a giant predator is familiar, but its story began in fragility. Every adult that once roamed the forests and plains started life as something small and delicate, breaking free from an egg no larger than a modern football. To follow its growth is to see the patience of nature at work, a rhythm of decades, each stage carrying its own role, its own balance, its own quiet presence in the Cretaceous world. The hatchlings of Tyrannosaurus rex were tiny compared to their parents. Light, slender, and vulnerable, they may have carried downy feathers for warmth, their bones still fragile, their steps quick and uncertain. At this stage, survival meant speed, hiding, and perhaps even parental protection. Fossil evidence from close relatives suggests that adults may have guarded nests or sheltered their young. If Tyrannosaurus rex followed similar rhythms, then the first weeks of its life were spent in the shadows of giants. The hatchlings clustered together while the world unfolded around them. As juveniles they grew quickly, their bodies changing year by year. Their legs lengthened, their frames remained light, and their movements became swifter than those of adults. These younger tyrannosaurs may have hunted smaller prey, darting after reptiles, mammals, and small dinosaurs, their agility carrying them where their size had not yet reached. In this way, each age of Tyrannosaurus rex filled its own role in the ecosystem, avoiding direct competition with older individuals while still shaping the balance of the land. The juveniles lived with energy and speed, their lives guided by motion but still framed by the patience of time. Growth was steady but not hurried. Studies of fossil bones reveal growth rings, much like those in trees, marking years of life. In its early years, Tyrannosaurus rex grew at a measured pace, adding weight gradually. Then, during adolescence, it entered a growth spurt, adding hundreds of pounds each year. In less than 2 decades, it transformed from a slender youth into a massive adult, its muscles thickening, its skull enlarging, its teeth growing strong enough to crush bone. This transformation was not sudden but steady, a rhythm of patience written into bone. Adulthood brought stability. At full size, Tyrannosaurus rex could weigh as much as 9 tons, its body balanced by a long tail, its head carried by powerful neck muscles, its steps steady and deliberate. An adult did not rush through its world. It walked with confidence, conserving energy, hunting when needed, scavenging when possible. Its life was not defined by constant activity but by long periods of calm observation, broken by moments of decisive action. Strength allowed it to rest, patience allowed it to endure. The scars of adulthood tell their own story. Fossilized bones show healed injuries, ribs that mended, skulls that bore marks of teeth, joints that carried the wear of decades. These traces reveal lives lived in resilience, giants that endured battles, falls, and accidents, yet continued forward. Each healed wound was a mark of survival, a sign of persistence and recovery. To imagine an adult Tyrannosaurus rex is not only to picture size and power but also endurance, the calm ability to live through challenge and return to balance. The lifespan of Tyrannosaurus rex was likely 2 to 3 decades, long enough for growth, stability, and reproduction, but short compared to the age of trees or the flow of rivers. Yet within that span each stage carried meaning. The hatchling brought fragility, the juvenile agility, the adult strength. Together they formed a cycle of life, each part essential to the continuation of the species. The story of Tyrannosaurus rex was not only about giants but about patience, about the way time transforms the small into the immense. This growth also shaped its role within the ecosystem. Young tyrannosaurs hunted smaller animals, filling niches left open by other predators. Adults focused on larger prey, their size and strength allowing them to face triceratops or scavenged carcasses. In this way, the species adapted across its own lifespan, ensuring that each age played a part in the balance of the land. From hatchling to giant, the rhythm of its life was woven into the rhythm of the earth. To picture this life is to see it in stages. First the egg resting quietly in soil. Then the hatchling chirping softly in the light of day. Then the juvenile darting through forests, swift and lean. Then the adult, immense and steady, walking with confidence across rivers and plains. Each stage flowed into the next, each one a calm chapter in a larger story. The giant we imagine was once fragile, once swift, once growing. Its life, like ours, was shaped by time, by patience, by steady change. From its growth, the story of Tyrannosaurus rex flows naturally into its legacy, the fossils it left behind and the way scientists, artists, and storytellers have come to know it. For though the creature itself is long gone, its bones, its teeth, and even its footprints whisper across time, allowing us to see it not only as it was, but as it continues to live in memory and imagination. Though Tyrannosaurus rex has been gone from the earth for 66 million years, its story is not lost. It lingers in fossils, in bones preserved by stone, in teeth weathered yet sharp, in footprints pressed into mud that hardened across time. These remains are the quiet legacy of a giant, messages carried through the patience of geology, waiting for human hands to uncover them. To stand before a Tyrannosaurus rex fossil today is to feel a connection across ages, to listen to the silence of stone as it whispers of life long past. The first pieces of Tyrannosaurus rex were discovered in the early 20th century. Paleontologists unearthed scattered bones in the American West, fragments of jaws, teeth, and vertebrae. From the beginning, these bones hinted at a creature immense and unlike any alive today. With each discovery, the picture grew clearer as more skeletons emerged from the ground. Fossil by fossil, scientists pieced together the body of Tyrannosaurus rex, not in haste but in careful patience, brushing away soil, preserving stone, studying every detail. Among the most complete and famous specimens is Sioux, discovered in South Dakota in 1990. Standing over 40 feet long, Sioux's skeleton is nearly 90% complete, offering an unmatched look at the form of Tyrannosaurus rex. Today, Sioux resides in a museum, her bones arranged in lifelike posture, her skull immense and awe-inspiring. Visitors who stand before her often feel not fear, but quiet wonder, humbled by the presence of a creature both ancient and timeless. Another well-known fossil is Stan, found in the 1980s. Stan's bones revealed details about movement, muscles, and even injuries that healed during life. Casts of Stan's skeleton are displayed in museums across the world, allowing countless people to encounter the silent remains of a giant. These fossils remind us that Tyrannosaurus rex is not only part of science but part of culture, carried into human memory across continents. Fossils also reveal the smaller details of Tyrannosaurus rex's life. Teeth, thick and conical, show signs of wear and replacement, evidence of feeding and renewal. Bones carry scars, healed fractures, bite marks, and roughened joints that tell of battles survived, accidents endured, and lives lived in resilience. Growth rings in bones mark the years of steady development, recording each season of life like pages in a book. Even fragments, studied with care, carry stories of patience, endurance, and survival. Footprints add another layer of memory. Preserved in stone, they are moments frozen in time, a step across soft mud that hardened and endured for millions of years. Some show long strides, steady and deliberate. Others reveal resting poses, where a Tyrannosaurus rex may have paused to lower its body to the ground. Each track is a direct connection to a moment of life, as if the giant had only just passed by, leaving its presence imprinted upon the earth. Modern science continues to study these fossils with new tools. CT scans reveal the inner structures of skulls, showing spaces for muscles and senses. Microscopes uncover tiny details, from growth patterns to traces of blood vessels. Chemical analysis has even found proteins preserved within bone, faint whispers of biology carried across eons. Every discovery adds another layer, deepening the picture of Tyrannosaurus rex not as a monster, but as a living being, patient and balanced within its world. The fossils also remind us of impermanence and continuity. Tyrannosaurus rex lived for millions of years, yet its species is now gone. What remains are bones turned to stone, silent yet enduring. These bones bridge the gap between past and present, allowing us to see not only what Tyrannosaurus rex was but what Earth has carried forward. They are symbols of memory, preserved not in words but in stone, waiting patiently to be understood. Beyond science, fossils of Tyrannosaurus rex have entered human imagination. They inspire art, literature, film, and storytelling, becoming symbols of strength, mystery, and awe. Yet even in popular culture, beneath the roar and spectacle, there remains a deeper truth, that Tyrannosaurus rex was real, that it walked quietly beneath Cretaceous skies, that its life was shaped by balance and silence far more than by fury. The fossils anchor imagination to reality, ensuring that the story of Tyrannosaurus rex is grounded in truth as well as wonder. The legacy of fossils teaches us that memory is often quiet. The earth records not in voices but in layers of stone, each one a page of history, each one waiting to be read. In the bones of Tyrannosaurus rex, we find not chaos but patience, not destruction but resilience. Its story, preserved for us, is a reminder that even giants pass, but their presence lingers, calm and enduring, written into the earth itself. From the fossils, the story of Tyrannosaurus rex flows naturally into the end of its time, the extinction that swept across the world, changing life forever. For just as Tyrannosaurus rex was shaped by balance, so too was it shaped by endings, part of the cycle where silence returns and new life begins. Every story carries an ending, and for Tyrannosaurus rex, that ending came not from weakness but from a world transformed. 66 million years ago, at the close of the Cretaceous, an event unfolded that reshaped life on Earth. The impact of an asteroid, striking with force beyond comprehension. This single moment marked the end of the dinosaurs' reign, including Tyrannosaurus rex, and the beginning of new chapters of life. Yet even in this ending there was balance, for silence after fire allowed renewal to emerge. The asteroid struck near what is now the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, creating the Chicxulub crater. More than 6 miles wide, the object carried energy equal to billions of nuclear bombs. In seconds, forests burned, seas roared, and skies darkened. Dust and vapor filled the atmosphere, blocking sunlight, cooling the earth. Plants struggled, herbivores weakened, predators starved. In the span of years, ecosystems that had flourished for millions of years collapsed into silence. For Tyrannosaurus rex, this meant the end of a lineage that had endured for generations. Giants that once walked across plains and forests disappeared, leaving no living descendants. Fossils of Tyrannosaurus rex mark this boundary in stone, bones preserved just below layers of ash and iridium, elements spread across the globe by the impact. These layers are like bookmarks in time, marking the close of one story and the quiet beginning of another. Yet extinction is not only destruction. It is also transformation. With the end of the dinosaurs, space opened for mammals to flourish. Small creatures that once hid in shadows expanded into forests and plains, eventually giving rise to the diversity we see today. Birds, descended from smaller theropod dinosaurs, carried forward the legacy of flight and song. In this way, the silence after the asteroid was not emptiness but preparation, a pause before renewal. The impact was fierce, but the earth endured. Forests regrew, rivers flowed, oceans calmed. New species appeared, each adapted to the changed world. Life returned not in chaos but in steady cycles, just as it always had. The memory of Tyrannosaurus rex remained in stone, but its role in the balance of nature continued through the creatures that followed. Its absence allowed others to thrive, shaping the world we now inhabit. To reflect on this extinction is to see not only an ending but a reminder of resilience. Even the mightiest creatures are subject to change, and even the greatest disruptions are followed by renewal. Tyrannosaurus rex was powerful, but its time was finite, as all times are. The patience of the earth stretches beyond individuals, beyond species, beyond ages. What disappears in one era becomes the foundation for another, silence always carrying seeds of life. The image of Tyrannosaurus rex at the end of the Cretaceous is not one of terror but of stillness. Imagine a giant standing beneath a sky dimmed by dust, forests quiet, rivers slowing. Its senses, once attuned to prey and scavenging, now carried confusion as food grew scarce and herds vanished. Yet even in this, it was part of the cycle, its life flowing into the balance of Earth's rhythm, its presence marking the close of an age. The fossils that remain are our link to this moment. They tell us not only of life but of endings, not only of presence but of absence. Each bone preserved in stone is a reminder that nothing lasts forever, yet nothing is truly lost. Tyrannosaurus rex is gone, but the earth remembers, carrying its story through layers of rock, through the birds that descend from its kin, through the lessons of balance and renewal written in its silence. And so, the extinction of Tyrannosaurus rex is not the end of its story but part of its legacy. It reminds us that endings are natural, that change is constant, and that life always continues in new forms. The age of dinosaurs closed, but the age of mammals began, leading in time to us. beings who now look back in wonder at the giants who came before. From extinction, the story flows naturally into legacy. How Tyrannosaurus rex lives on not only in fossils but in the imagination of humans, inspiring awe, curiosity, and reflection. Its presence, though gone from the earth, remains alive in memory, culture, and science, carrying forward into the modern world as a symbol of patience, resilience, and the beauty of life's rhythm. Though Tyrannosaurus rex vanished from the earth 66 million years ago, its story did not end in silence. Through fossils, through science, and through the imagination of people, Tyrannosaurus rex has lived on, carried forward as one of the most recognized and celebrated creatures in history. Its bones rest in museums, its likeness fills books and films, and its name inspires awe across cultures. The legacy of Tyrannosaurus rex is not only in stone, but in memory, where it continues to walk gently through time. In science, Tyrannosaurus rex remains a cornerstone of paleontology. Every new fossil adds another detail to its story: how it moved, how it grew, how it lived. Skeletons like Sue and Stan stand in museums as ambassadors of deep time, allowing people to stand face to face with a creature that lived millions of years ago. Researchers study these bones with patience, using CT scans, 3D modeling, and chemical analysis to uncover secrets hidden within. Growth rings reveal its lifespan, where marks show how it fed, healed scars show how it endured. Each fossil is a quiet teacher, carrying lessons across ages. In culture, Tyrannosaurus rex has become more than a fossil. Its name, meaning tyrant lizard king, evokes strength, but its presence is often gentler than that. It appears in stories for children, in paintings, in sculptures, in films that bring the past to life. Sometimes it is shown as fierce, jaws wide in a roar. Other times, it is shown as majestic, striding calmly across ancient plains. In both forms, it carries wonder, reminding us of the immensity of life and the patience of Earth's history. Museums are sanctuaries where this legacy rests most clearly. Visitors enter quiet halls where skeletons tower above, their bones arranged in lifelike poses. Children stand wide-eyed, adults reflect in silence, all connected by the presence of a creature both ancient and timeless. These spaces are not places of fear but of calm curiosity. To walk among the fossils of Tyrannosaurus rex is to walk among memories written in stone, a reminder that even giants live on when preserved with care. Art has carried Tyrannosaurus rex into countless imaginations. Illustrators paint it beneath Cretaceous skies, artists sculpt its form in clay and stone, filmmakers bring it to life on screen. Each representation is a blend of science and creativity, grounded in fossils but lifted by imagination. In every brushstroke and frame, the spirit of Tyrannosaurus rex is renewed, carrying its presence forward into the present. Even language carries its echo. To call something rex is to call it great, enduring, or powerful. The name of Tyrannosaurus rex has become a symbol, used in contexts far beyond paleontology, reminding us of the weight it carries in human thought. Yet beneath the symbol lies the creature itself, a being that lived quietly in forests and plains, part of the rhythm of Earth's balance. Its cultural presence magnifies this truth, turning ancient silence into modern reflection. The scientific legacy of Tyrannosaurus rex continues to grow. Each year, new techniques reveal more. Proteins preserved in bone hint at biology, footprints trace movement across mud, even possible pigments in fossils may one day reveal colors of its skin. These discoveries do not rush forward but arrive slowly, piece by piece, like notes in a quiet song. Together, they deepen our understanding not only of Tyrannosaurus rex but of life itself, of the patience required to endure and adapt. In popular imagination, Tyrannosaurus rex often appears as a symbol of strength. Yet when seen through science and reflection, it is more than power. It is resilience, patience, and connection. Its life reminds us that even the greatest creatures live within balance, that their strength is matched by vulnerability, that their presence is shaped by cycles of birth, growth, and silence. Its extinction teaches us that even the mighty pass, but its fossils teach us that memory endures. Tyrannosaurus rex's legacy also carries a deeper lesson about time. To stand before its skeleton is to feel the immensity of millions of years, to realize how brief human history is by comparison. And yet, in that immensity there is comfort. Life has always found ways to continue, to adapt, to renew. The presence of Tyrannosaurus rex in our memory is part of that continuity, a reminder that nothing is truly lost if it is remembered, studied, and carried forward. From fossils and culture, the story of Tyrannosaurus rex flows into reflection, not only on what it was but on what it teaches us. Its patience in growth, its balance in survival, its silence in extinction, all are lessons for us living now. To see Tyrannosaurus rex clearly is to see a teacher of time, a creature that whispers across ages, reminding us of balance, resilience, and the calm persistence of life. And as the journey nears its close, the final chapters invite us to gather these lessons, to reflect on what Tyrannosaurus rex truly means to us, not only as a giant of the past, but as a symbol of patience and peace, living still in memory, imagination, and stone. As the story of Tyrannosaurus rex draws toward its close, it becomes less about bones and landscapes and more about meaning. What does this creature, gone for 66 million years, still teach us? Why does its memory endure so strongly in science, in imagination, and in culture? The answer lies not in its size or power alone, but in the lessons it offers. Lessons of patience, resilience, balance, and renewal. The first lesson is patience. Tyrannosaurus rex did not spring into existence fully formed, but grew slowly from fragile hatchlings into towering adults. Its bones carry the rhythm of decades, with growth rings recording years of steady increase. This patience extended beyond individuals into the species itself, which thrived for millions of years before its sudden end. To reflect on Tyrannosaurus rex is to remember that greatness is built not in moments but in long cycles, that time shapes all things gently, step by step. The second lesson is resilience. Fossils show injuries that healed, teeth that were lost and replaced, bones that bore scars of survival. These giants lived through challenges, endured pain, and continued forward. Their very existence across ages reminds us that life, even when tested, persists. Resilience is not the absence of struggle, but the quiet ability to recover, to heal, to continue. In this way, Tyrannosaurus rex embodies endurance, teaching us that scars are not endings but signs of survival. The third lesson is balance. Tyrannosaurus rex was a predator, but also a scavenger. It hunted, but it also recycled, ensuring that nothing in its ecosystem was wasted. Its presence shaped herds, guided defenses, and influenced growth, but it never stood apart from the cycle. It was part of a web, forests, rivers, plains, skies, and creatures of every size. Balance was its true nature, not dominance. To see Tyrannosaurus rex clearly is to see a participant in harmony, bound to the same rhythms as all life. The fourth lesson is renewal. Though Tyrannosaurus rex and its kin vanished in the Great Extinction, life did not end. Birds carried forward the legacy of dinosaurs, evolving into countless forms. Mammals rose, forests regrew, oceans refilled with life. From silence came renewal, from endings came beginnings. The story of Tyrannosaurus rex reminds us that even loss carries seeds of growth, that renewal always follows change, that silence is not emptiness but preparation. Together, these lessons form a message as timeless as the stars. Patience teaches us to trust in time. Resilience teaches us to endure. Balance teaches us to live within harmony. Renewal teaches us that change is not the end but the beginning. These are not only truths of Tyrannosaurus rex, but truths of Earth itself, written into every cycle of fire, water, soil, and sky. The presence of Tyrannosaurus rex in our imagination speaks to our need for such reminders. We picture it walking across plains, standing beneath stars, resting in forests, and in those images we see both strength and calm. It becomes a mirror reflecting our own place in the world, reminding us that we, too, are part of cycles larger than ourselves. Its story comforts as much as it inspires, grounding us in patience and balance. Even extinction carries meaning when seen in this light. Tyrannosaurus rex lived in an age that ended, but its legacy shaped the ages that followed. Its absence allowed new forms of life to rise, leading in time to the diversity we know today. Extinction, though final for the species, was not final for life. Renewal followed, as it always does, reminding us that change is woven into the fabric of existence. To sit with the story of Tyrannosaurus rex is to sit with the rhythm of the earth. It is to hear the silence between eruptions, the patience of growth, the endurance of survival, the calm of renewal. It is to feel connected to time itself, knowing that just as Tyrannosaurus rex walked in balance with its world, so too do we walk in balance with ours, whether we notice or not. From these reflections, the story turns at last to its closing, not an ending but a gathering of everything Tyrannosaurus rex has shown us. In the final chapter, we bring together its life, its world, its legacy, and its lessons, allowing them to rest in our thoughts like the calm presence of a giant long gone but never forgotten. The story of Tyrannosaurus rex has carried us through time, from fragile eggs hidden in nests to towering adults striding across forests and plains, from fossils preserved in stone to the imagination of cultures around the world. We have walked beside it in rivers and valleys, watched it grow patiently over decades, seen it live in balance with herds and ecosystems, and followed it into extinction and beyond, where its memory still lingers in the quiet of museums and the wonder of human thought. Now, as our journey ends, what remains is not fear or noise, but calm reflection, the enduring presence of a creature that continues to teach us across millions of years. Tyrannosaurus rex was immense, yet its life was guided not by frenzy but by patience. It grew slowly, stage by stage, from hatchling to giant, carrying resilience in every bone. It lived not in isolation but in harmony with its world, with forests that shaded its path, rivers that quenched its thirst, herds that moved in rhythm with its steps, and skies that stretched endlessly above. Its senses connected it deeply to the land, its movement was steady and balanced, its role both hunter and recycler, both predator and caretaker. Seen clearly, it was not a monster but a participant in the great balance of nature. Its extinction, though sudden, was not the end. It was part of a cycle where endings make space for new beginnings. From the silence after the asteroid came renewal, forests regrowing, mammals rising, birds carrying forward the legacy of flight. The age of Tyrannosaurus rex ended, but life continued, patient and steady, reminding us that change is natural and that renewal always follows loss. In this truth lies the greatest lesson of all, that balance is eternal, written into every rhythm of Earth. The fossils of Tyrannosaurus rex are not only records of biology but symbols of time. They remind us how brief human history is compared to the immensity of Earth's past, and yet how connected we are to it. To stand before the skeleton of a Tyrannosaurus rex is to feel the presence of deep time, to know that millions of years can pass and still leave traces, to sense that silence itself carries memory. Its bones whisper not of terror but of patience, endurance, and calm. In our imagination, Tyrannosaurus rex continues to live. It walks across screens, pages, and dreams, sometimes fierce, sometimes majestic, always immense. Yet beyond the roar and spectacle lies the quiet truth, that it was a creature of rhythm, bound by the same cycles as rivers and trees, shaped by patience and balance. Its presence in our stories is a reflection of our own search for meaning, our own need to feel connected to the flow of time and the harmony of nature. As we close this journey, let us carry with us what Tyrannosaurus rex has shown. That growth takes time, that resilience is found in scars, that balance sustains life, and that renewal follows endings. These are not only lessons of the past but guides for the present, reminders to move with patience, to live in harmony, to endure with calm, and to trust in renewal. In this way, the legacy of Tyrannosaurus rex is not behind us but within us, alive in the way we see and live today. And so the story rests not in noise but in silence. The forests of the Cretaceous have faded, the herds are gone, the skies have changed, yet the memory remains. Tyrannosaurus rex, the tyrant lizard king, lives not as a monster of chaos but as a symbol of time's patience, Earth's resilience, and nature's balance. Its footsteps may no longer press into mud, but they press still into our thoughts, guiding us gently toward reflection. If you found calm in this journey through time, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Earthly Explorer. Together we will continue to wander into the past, the present, and the cosmos, discovering stories that soothe, truths that balance, and rhythms that carry us peacefully into rest.